This video is made possible by my patrons on Patreon. Hello everyone, my name is Ziamaro and welcome to Battlerite Sage. Today I'm starting a little series on the difference between different leagues in ranked mode. I'll be telling you what my observations are, but I'm just one man. I don't know what all the differences are, and that's where you guys come in. One of the things I like most about making videos on this channel is the comments section. And just by mentioning this, I know you're all going to prove me wrong, because you're a bunch of trolls sometimes. But in every video I make, the comments are often as helpful or maybe even more helpful than the video itself. So let's start out with the difference between Diamond and Champion. I thought I'd start out here because Diamond is a league full of people who are very eager to improve. At least in my opinion, Diamond is the point where people really start to get what the game is about. By the time people reach Diamond League, they understand all the basics. They know to bait counters, they can spot when someone burns their outs, and their positioning is usually pretty solid. But for that reason, it's also a sticking point for a lot of people. If there's no more basic stuff to learn, what does it take to make the next step up to Champion? I know this struggle firsthand. I was stuck in Diamond for quite a while. So what are the differences between a Diamond player and a Champion player? The first thing I notice with Diamond players is a difference in attitude. This isn't a hard and fast rule, and the ones who don't hold this attitude are the ones who will eventually climb. But some Diamond players seem to have a bad attitude at times. Whether it's blaming teammates directly or blaming the matchmaker. You see a lot of Diamond players who will blame external sources for the reason they can't make the jump. I've said this before, but you can't control your teammates. You can only control what you do. And the more you focus on what your teammates are doing, the less you'll be focusing on what you are doing. Part of climbing in solo queue is learning to play around different playstyles. Everyone has a unique playstyle. Some people play ultra passive, others play hyper aggressive, and if you can learn to play with both, you'll have a much easier time. How often do you see people complain about their team playing too scared and not taking the orb? Rather than worrying about your team playing passively, you can turn that to your advantage and punish the enemies who push you. Or sometimes you see the opposite. God damn it, Rygon, I can't heal you behind walls. Sometimes you can leave aggressive teammates to just do their thing. Just remember, your team doesn't need to stick together at all times. Sometimes you can just leave aggressive teammates to do their thing. They can often distract one or sometimes even two enemies while you have a favourable matchup in the middle. Just learn to work with it. And regarding the matchmaker issue, yes, we all get wonky games sometimes, and the general line of thought on that is, well, for every bad game you get, your opponents will also get a bad game. And while that's true, we all have a tendency to blame the matchmaker when we get stomped, but when we stomp our opponents, we're less likely to say the matchmaker gave us a free win, and more likely to pat ourselves on the back and tell ourselves how well we played. And that's definitely true. But the real thing you need to understand when it comes to the matchmaker is, you know those games where you get carried by a grand champion? Well, when you climb, which is what you want to do, right? Eventually, you'll be the grand champion and you're expected to carry games. I'm not making excuses for the matchmaker, it really is god-awful at times. But the matchmaker never stops being an issue. Everyone has to deal with it, so it's not the reason you're stuck. You know what though? Most diamonds have a decent attitude, so if your attitude is good, what else could be going wrong? Well, the second thing to work on is situational awareness. Mechanically speaking, diamonds aren't half bad. You should always be working on your aim and movement, but a much bigger difference between diamond and champs is situational awareness. What do I mean by this? Well, by the time you reach diamond, you know you should focus a target who has no outs. But a lot of diamonds tunnel vision a little bit. You shouldn't just track the cooldowns of one opponent, you need to track all of them. Target focus isn't just based on cooldowns, it's also positioning. If two targets have no outs, you should always focus the one who is in a worse position. I mean, this stuff is pretty obvious, but noticing these things in the moment is the real challenge. Whenever you're attacking someone, you shouldn't need to pay full attention to the person you're attacking. You should be subconsciously aiming and dodging while keeping an eye out for the other opponents. Quite often, your teammate could bait out a counter on one of the other opponents, and your best course of action is to hard switch. Your teammate is already focusing that person, and by you switching focus while they have no outs, they're going to get quickly overwhelmed. If you're tunnel visioned on baiting the supports out, you may miss a golden opportunity, so always keep an eye out for that. We've all had situations where we catch someone in a really bad position, but the rest of the team just seems oblivious to it. Don't be one of those teammates. In team queue, you can say it in voice chat, but in solo queue, the onus is on you to spot these things. Something else I notice is knowing when to commit. It's kinda interesting. At lower ranks, people can be overly aggressive when they really shouldn't be and get punished for it. You quickly learn not to go all in. So as you go up the ranks, you become more and more conservative. And that conservatism peaks around Diamond. Playing that way is probably what got you to Diamond in the first place. But something you notice going through Champ, and having played with some high-level GCs, is how aggressive they can be when an opportunity arises. Playing carefully is usually good. Don't waste your outs chasing someone down because you'll come off worse from that fight. However, if an opportunity shows itself, don't be afraid to throw your cards on the table. If you're confident you can deal more damage than you'll take, pressure the hell out of someone. Something you see a lot with top 100 players is when they see someone burn an out, they go on them hard. They keep pressuring them while keeping a mental note of when their cooldowns will come back. They'll predict the counter, avoid it, and then keep pressuring them. Up to Diamond, you learn to focus someone when they have no outs, and then stop focusing them when you think their cooldowns are back. If you get really good at predicting cooldowns, you don't need to stop there. During a burst window, you can force the players to use their outs again, and if you manage that, then you've pretty much won the round. Okay, so these aren't going to be a problem for everyone. Maybe you'll identify with one or two of these, but you feel like you've got the rest down. But keeping your attitude in check, being aware of the bigger picture in a fight, and learning when you should go all in are skills that you need to master if you want to keep climbing. I'm going to do a video for each of the ranks, so please feel free to leave a comment below. If there's a difference you've noticed when you've climbed out of silver, for example, I want to know about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please feel free to subscribe for more Battlerite guides, news, and discussion. If you'd like to help support the channel and get some unique rewards, then head over to patreon.com/battleritesage. And don't forget to check out twitch.tv/battleritesage. Until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.